Thoughts and prayers just aren't enough here right now, because these kids were actually praying.
At the end of the day, thoughts and prayers have led us to having more of these deaths, more of these shootings.
Keep us in your thoughts and prayers, but also keep us in the thoughts for action.
Will, if you are a politician or you're a media commentator and two beautiful babies just got murdered while praying and your politics force you to condemn prayer in response to it, you ought to get new politics because something very wrong has gone on inside your soul.
Well, if you think politics don't matter, it just doesn't matter who's in office. You just need to focus on yourself, your family, and your business. You're naive, spoiled, and wrong. Who you elect at the local, state, and national level implement policies that determine the environment that you, your family, and business live in. You only have the right to keep your head down and focus on yourself because so many behind you fought for a system that allowed you to do that. But it's not set for life, and it's not guaranteed. It needs to be continually fought for because there are forces always trying to destroy good, freedom, peace, prosperity. Poor political leadership has serious consequences, and now Minnesota is a clear example of that. When you elect or hire incompetent people, you get poor results. This is a very simple, universally true formula. But this is actually way worse than incompetence. As J.D. Vance alluded to right there is something that has gone very wrong inside the minds and souls of many people, left-wing political leaders, media commentators, and then, yes, the individuals, mothers and fathers and children that are buying into or being brainwashed by this soul-infecting, reality-distorting ideology. They have become so misaligned with truth, with God, that they are incapable of being able to make right, good, virtuous, prudent, prosperous decisions. This is why the Minneapolis police chief just can't figure out why this happened, and why the Minneapolis mayor continues to propose ideas and solutions that just won't deliver desirable results that actually solve real problems for real people. I mean, you are not going to believe what I'm about to show you. And then finally, I'll cap this off with a voice of reason. Greg Gutfeld on Fox News is going viral for his rant within which contains a truth, the truth. And you can tell because the truth, logic, logos, sounds different. When something is aligned, it hits different. We'll build up to that, though, with this important context first. I'm Zach Costello. The Minneapolis police chief was just asked in a press conference if there was any mental health diagnosis of the trans individual responsible for shooting Catholic students during a school mass. This answer is utterly ridiculous.
And is there any kind of mental health diagnosis that anyone is aware of?
There is no diagnosis that I'm aware of that I can share. I can tell you we are not aware of any state-ordered mental health commitments for this individual.
Pay attention to those words. We are not aware of any state mental health commitments for this individual. Well, this is because Minnesota Governor Tim Walz passed a law defining Minnesota as a trans refuge state. This is because the state of Minnesota, as others, do not consider transgenderism a mental health disorder. This, therefore, would prevent any gun distributor or store from discriminating against a trans individual if they wanted to purchase a firearm. Isn't it interesting? Democrats call for universal background checks, yet one of the biggest red flag mental health disorders, wouldn't qualify as one. A perfect example of an utterly distorted and illogical political policy. Yet, you have the mayor of Minnesota saying things like this.
Have more guns in America than we have people. The reality is that we have these assault rifles that can reel off 30 clips in conjunction with a magazine before the person even needs to reload. The reality is that these guns make their way into cities across America by the trunk.
Imagine, and you probably can't, being so incompetent that you continually blame an inanimate object for evil, heinous crimes. This issue is not the guns. The issue is this. Look at what is going on within the trans community on Reddit right now. I'll read some of these. Based. Take the fight to their kids so they can feel what it's like to be attacked for your identity. More dead Christians. LOL. The trans community will not die laying down without a fight. I hope the guns are okay. Future religious extremists dying isn't a bad thing. These political leaders think that their gun control policy will solve the hatred problem that transgender folks have for Christians. They refuse to acknowledge that transgenderism is a mental illness and that there is an ideology that has taken over their minds and bodies. A clear and effective solution would be, if you are transgender or experiencing gender dysphoria, we care about you and your soul. And right now, you are just not allowed to purchase a firearm. This is a humane and effective policy given the statistics and data readily available. It is not compassionate or good for society to allow someone to live in delusion and a false reality. It is most compassionate and loving to support that individual suffering from gender dysphoria in this confusing world in truth and reality. And this is consistent with what Greg Gutfeld is going viral for here and really puts the nail in the coffin of this argument.
This is why none of these a-holes can lecture anyone on compassion. The most compassionate people on this planet are trying to stop the trans delusion. The least compassionate are the people in the media, academia, and politicians who enabled this hysteria of horror. What is so glaring about the trans cult? Apparently your identity is the only thing that matters until you do something awful. Then it's the least important variable. Then you look at everything else. You talk about guns. But you suddenly, it's all of a sudden like, oh, we can't talk about that. What was it, the other trans shooter that they actually hid her identity? In this manifesto that this creep wrote, he said he was tired of being trans and that he had wished he had never brainwashed himself. What more do you need? Straight from the monster's mouth. Politicians, activists, teachers, you built this. You could have listened to the warnings. We were talking about this on this show for years. You amplified a hysterical, literally hysterical phenomenon that was going no place good. You created a poisonous program that twisted young minds for destruction, a nihilistic place to be when you deny biology and they have nowhere to go. So all of these media arguments, what you're seeing there among those people, it's to escape their own culpability in the reality that they created. So forget the layer of mental illness and gun control. The origin of the evil lies in the creation of a mindset that indulged a delusional self, ruining connections with fellow human beings. So that trans, by ascribing extreme aggrieved mentality, then gets directed against society, so this person feels justified in killing children. His killing resulted from that ideology. And if you don't believe that, you're one dumb asshole.